Well, what a good night, and what a great blessing to see all that God is doing in our church. And thanks again to our elder board for service for us this year. All the years that I've been here, we've never had an elder board that's had to put in this many hours. This is the 102 testimonies, but then the nearly 30 elder prayers, which has been a tremendous movement of praying for people in our church. And I would guess that in the last 10 years, we haven't had that many elder prayers or anointings with oil. And so this has been a wonderful time of ministry. Then, not to mention transition and succession, there have been a lot of extra hours. So when you see them, thank them a lot. I should say, while I was sitting over there, a light went out up there. Thankfully, we have a budget for that. So we were hoping to get the whole white lighting set here. As you know, there are dark spots. I mean, you can't even see people over there, and we can't turn the sides on because they flicker and give people seizures. And so we had hoped to have that whole lighting done by Easter. It did not happen. I don't know if it was a tariff problem. But nonetheless, it did not happen. But Pastor Nate tells me that we are on schedule in the next short while to get those going. So you'll actually be able to see each other's faces again in church. That will be such a blessing. So let me give you one more encouragement. Thank you for your generosity again, and you see that in our budget here. As we said earlier, we gave $500,000 to the general fund, which did help us make our budget, but we had an aggressive budget last year of 10% increase because we knew of all the things that were happening next year. But even without that gift, your giving went up 6% overall last year. And so that's more than has happened in the last decade. So many blessings, and thank you for your focus on the church, and the fact that we have 102 new members this year shows. By the way, I don't know why so many of you became members this year. You don't get to vote me out. You're voting somebody else in. Clarity helps people. I don't know. So if some of you want to recant or rethink, now's the time. But what a blessing that is. And I should ask a question to you. How many of you joined because you like the church? It does not just 102, but so almost all of you would raise your hand for that because you didn't join the church because you can't stand it. You like what's going on around here. And so what I want to make a promise to you, and probably the future pastor would make a promise for you as well. I promise you, if you like it the way it is, it will change next year. We will not be the same church next year as we are this year. We have never been that. That's the way it's been for the last 40 years. And we are coming to a time where this will be the biggest change in a long time because we will be having a new senior pastor. And regardless of not one other thing changes in our church this next year, and it will, other things will change, but that one thing will be the biggest change that all of us will experience next year. So understand that organizations change. People change. Our church has been on this corner for 132 years. And not many of you would have joined this year if we still functioned as a church as we did 39 and a half years ago when I came here. Jane was looking at old records this week before she went on vacation, and she said the first year that I was here that there were about 90 adults that showed up for church, and our budget was less than $100,000. But you like it today because we changed yesterday. That's why we're sitting here. And change is hard for all of us. even though this is a change that we felt led to do, this is surely a hard change for Deb and I and our families. They were all little, well, two of them weren't born when we came here, and two of them were just little babies when they came here. This is what they've known. And so some change might be hard for you, but I guarantee you, at the end, God will honor as we trust him during the midst of change. I had the elders read a book, and I've passed it around, and Travis has read as well, a book by Stephen Woodworth called Lost in Transition. Many of you have asked, how are we doing? How are Deb and I doing in this change? It's a big change for us. And hard and wonderful at the same time. This today was weird and wonderful all at the same time. I give it two weirds and one wonderful, but it was weird. And so in this book, and I thank God for our board. The board has been wonderful through this process and very wonderful. And they're treating me as a founding pastor, even though our church has been here 132 years. Our church is quite different than when we arrived 39 and a half years ago. But he says whenever anybody that founds a company or anything like that in a church he works with as well, he's been involved with this for 40 years, transitions. He says it's like going to your own funeral and your own wedding on the same day. So if you want to know how I feel, that's how it is. There's joy, and there's sorrow and sadness. It will be weird not to be your senior pastor. I should say, I've loved every minute of it, except for the times when I didn't. When is this guy going to leave anyhow? Please. Listen, there have been hard times and ups and downs, and there have been long nights and sleepless nights, but I've loved being your pastor. It's been the joy of my life outside of the great family that I have. And please know, the average pastor stays less than 2 years after one building program. We've been through 4 or 5 different innovations of building programs, and you still can't get rid of me. It must be hard on you all. But you should know beyond a shadow of a doubt that, as you know, you can never do this alone. So all the people that have walked alongside of me, the staff through the years. I heard from Jim Barber today, as he was my first executive pastor. He said it reminded him of a young 40-year-old Randy Discher. And I love the fact of that energy that we saw today. I'm excited about that. But, and so we never get here alone, but know for a fact, I could never be standing here after 39 years without Deb. And she is a rock and a prayer warrior. And, you know, thankfully, when I didn't feel very prayerful about you, she did. So thank you. But I told you once a while ago in one of my sermons that Deb left for a little while to go to a retreat or whatever, and I had control of the kids over a weekend and a Sunday and had to get them ready. And thank God for nursery workers and everything that combed my girls' hair and put them together so that they looked presentable. I never was so happy when she came home. And I never would have been able to do this. She has sacrificed in more ways than probably any of you can imagine so that I can stand here. And I'm thankful for that. This is the funeral part, not the wedding part. So this is my last address to you as an annual business meeting. And I want to tell you that change is a great sign of health. We're not changing our values. We are not changing our doctrine. Our mission is the same. It's what we're here as a church for. We're here to share the good news of Jesus Christ. And I want to encourage all of you to come together in a powerful way and make sure that we do not cause division in any way, shape, or form over things that do not matter. The things that matter, our church is clear on. As far as how we run our corporation, we can always improve, but don't divide over that. We will never change over cause, but as far as methods, if you don't like it, we'll suck it up. Because we're not going to divide over methods. There's 1,000 methods to do a certain thing. I have a bad reputation for not liking cats. So let me just say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Those are methods, right? And so we're not going to divide over that. So I want to just ask you, I think legacy are the kinds of things you leave behind that last, the structures and the things that you've built that minister to people. So regardless of who you are, give change a chance, and don't divide and don't leave. Double down on your commitment that our church will be even better at reaching the lost than we are today. And I say that because I came to Constance when I was 29. Travis is 44. When I had been here 15 years already. We'd completed 2 building programs and planning for a third. And there were families when I came here at 29 that said he was too young, and they left. I'm sorry they did. Well, not that sorry, but I am sorry they did. They might have caused a lot of problems, and maybe God moved them on, but they missed an opportunity to be a part of something that produced a lot of spiritual fruit. Good fruit. And I just want to remind you that your pastor is not the product that we are trying to produce in this church. That's not what it is. We don't hold our pastor up and say, this is it. This is why we do things the way we do around here and have all sorts of delegation and people doing other things, because the pastor is not the product. But how we disciple people and lead them towards Christ is. So I want to encourage you for this new season. Now is the time to rally together. It's an exciting new season, and fully engage. I never thought much of retirement or succession. I do believe that you're called to be productive for Jesus your whole life. And I want to tell you that I still want to be productive. I don't want to just tan my wrinkled face. I want to be productive for Jesus, even in what is called retirement or readjustment or whatever. I don't know, is readjustment a counseling term? I might need that too. But just as God called me here 29 years ago, and I think he did, through a series of events that I think God ordained, I think he's also called me to step down. And yeah, sometimes that feels hard, and I've loved doing what I've done here in this place. I would like to hope to think that I'm more than what I do here, though. And over the last year and a half, the Lord has given me the word 40. I've shared this with some of you. As you studied the word 40 and 40 in the Bible, it is kind of overwhelming how much there is in the Bible about it. But he gave me the story then of Moses. And it's interesting because there are all sorts of 40s in Moses' life, 3 40s of his life as far as his lifespan. He spent 40 days on the mountain to get the tablets from God. But after he had led for 40 years in the desert, God called him to step down. And the Bible is interesting. It makes it very clear that Moses was still full of vigor, able to lead, and strong in every way, shape, or form. My knee hurts tonight, so I won't say I'm like Moses. But God said to Moses, even after he said, could he lead him into the promised land? And Moses said, and God said, no, it's not going to be for you. It'll be another generation. Set the pace for that. And so God took Moses to himself. And I'm hoping he doesn't do that for me right away, but maybe a few years later. But I think about it, the three kings of Israel, founded on 40 years, 40 generational pastorate, kingships, Saul, David, and Solomon. When Jesus started off on a new season, he spent 40 days in the wilderness. And interestingly enough, another 40 days here on earth afterwards to start another new season called the church. And, as you look at the word 40 throughout, it's always something new. 40 years in the desert and then moved to the promised land, the flood, the birth of the church. And Moses still had vision to lead, and God said no. And so I've heard that voice. And I really truthfully feel that our church is ready for a next step and season, an explosion of what God wants to do on this corner. And I really believe that will come in this next season. So I encourage you to be along for the ride and be a part of the ride, because I think God has a lot in store for us. And God was gracious to Moses, even though he had great affections still to lead. He was gracious to him. It's interesting about 42, it's also a time of completion. It's a time of milestone. It's a time of something achieved. It's not 40, but it's 45. Yesterday, Deb and I celebrated our 45th anniversary. And as my dad always said, I've had 45 great years and Deb's had a couple. Of course, he said that about my mom. But it's time for a new season. And I think what God is going to do on this corner in the next season is exciting for us to anticipate and to pray over and to participate in. And I think there is a wonderful thing yet to come. Last year, I asked the board, do you want me to lead during my last year of ministry here? Or just preach and show up for meetings and have a good time? I'd like to wind down a little bit. I said, though, that the staff believes that we have to continue to move forward. Our consultant and most people said it wasn't wise for us to be moving into a building program and calling a new pastor at the same time. And so we had to pray over that. And the staff felt that that if we put off a building program for another 2 to 3 years, it will hinder what has already been hindering us since 2004-05. And we talked about that way back then, some of the things that our building hinders us in. We have great space here. There's a lot of hindrances in other places in our building. And so the elders agreed that we should continue to move forward with that for this year. So I want to encourage you to wholeheartedly follow their lead, our staff's lead, as we move towards a building program. We'll be having some half-decent plans by September to start sharing as we raise money in the middle of September through October. And this is part of the reason that we'll be staying on, as you heard already, that we'll be paying 2 pastors for a while. We're paying a lot more pastors than that as well, but 2 senior pastors for a while. And we think that's really good for the health of our church. I did not want to see, when the board, as we began to talk to, succession, it was that we want a strong handoff together. of the baton of leadership for our body. And we don't want, and I made a promise to the elders that regardless of what happened, this was over a year ago, that I would not leave until we got a pastor, because I believe it's important for us to have a strong pastor. And so, and that's still a promise to this day. We are going to overlap for some time till through December 1, and I'll be stepping away at that point. And I'm trusting that we will have raised the money for our building and those 4 needs of our foyer space that was built for 300 people. We want to expand that, move things around there. A secure Sunday school wing, which we believe this is a critical thing for our church. And I know some of us, we haven't had young kids for a long time, but if you have to walk all the way down the hall to the nursery, and then you have other young kids, and you have to take one downstairs and one, this is a hindrance to our work here. And so I just want to encourage those of you that don't have children to get behind this, because this is a big thing for our church. It's critical that we move forward in this. And kitchen, kitchen's it's just a nightmare. Let's just put it that way. It's too small. It's not big as half of your kitchens at home. And sometimes we're serving 3 different organizations at a time out of that, and it can be a mess, and we can't produce food there. And so, and offices, our office space will go all the way down to the nursery now, and I'm hoping to get 5 people out of closets on the hallway. Well, maybe I won't get to do that, but the next guy will get to have the privilege of moving them into an actual office. Won't that be great? And so we're looking forward to all that God has. You know, I want with all of my heart to see our church continue to barrel forward. And, you know, I know that's not me at that leadership. I've had my time, and I'm happy for it. But I want our next pastor to experience what I've experienced here. And if he doesn't, I'm going to slap you all on the head. I'm just saying. This is the way church should be. We shouldn't be a bad example for the world on how to do stuff. And so keep praying. So far, this is one of the best successions I've heard about. And I hear about a lot of them, and involved with 5 of my pastor friends this year are moving into retirement that I met with last March. One of them's already done it. And 2 of them have had internal candidates because they're multi-site churches, but our church didn't have that. Is Sean here tonight? Where's that little traitor? There he is, back there. Yeah. I mean, it is no secret that I thought Sean would succeed me and he's been here 30 years. Tremendous servant of the Lord here. Everything he's touched has compounded for Jesus. Amen. But it was God's call in his life to go somewhere else, and God is multiplying that as well. So continue to pray for him. You'll see him around a lot. Encourage him, because he is working for you in all sorts of denominations now. So I am so thankful where we are today, and I'm so thankful I can stand before you as one fully grateful for the privilege to serve you. Thank you. Thank you very much.